For your time. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. In 2019, then candidate for president Joe Biden said, and I quote, "We are going to ban fossil fuels. I guarantee it." Well, when tyrants speak, believe them. And one could argue this will be the only campaign promise that Biden plans on following in the future. With the radical climate lobby that helped to put Joe Biden in the White House in the first place, there's no matter how much American families suffer from the increased energy prices directly resulting from Biden's policies, the White House will continue to pursue this flawed and failed agenda. Energy bills for the people that I serve in Tomball, Texas, which is actually the northern part of my district in the Houston suburb, have doubled under Joe Biden. The Houston Chronicle, a local publication, says that the natural gas bills in Houston are soaring. And yet Biden and the climate cartel have spent the last 2 years propagandizing an energy transition. And we are transitioning, all right into poverty. The truth is, if you plan on continuing to live in a free and prosperous society, then fossil fuels aren't going anywhere for the foreseeable future. And here is where fantasy meets reality. You see, on one hand, this administration killed the Keystone XL pipeline and placed a moratorium on all oil and gas leases on federal land. But then on the other hand, the Biden administration wrote a letter to several oil companies demanding they increase oil production and refining capacity. Now, why would an energy company do that if they know that their industry is going to be killed in a not-so-distant future? That's not capitalism, and that's not America. That's ridiculous. On one hand, Biden wants to mandate that Americans drive EVs. But then on the other hand, he prohibits the domestic mining of necessary materials to build these vehicles and their batteries. On the one hand, Biden says he wants to reduce carbon emissions, and then turns around and he taxed the energy source that's responsible for lowering U.S. emissions. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is natural gas. On the one hand, Biden says that he wants to transition our entire energy future. And he even said that he wants to make sure that all government vehicles are powered by a renewable source by 2035. And I'm an Apache helicopter pilot. Good luck with that. But then on the other hand, he has set up a permitting and regulatory system that, as you mentioned, Mr. Hurrell, is procedurally impossible in your statement, and thank you for being honest on that. I'm from Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas is the energy capital of the world. I deem myself to be the energy congressman of the world. And I want to tell my friends on the opposite side of the aisle something that's very important. Every single oil and gas executive that I have spoken to in my district in the energy corridor has never said anything disparaging about renewable energy. Never, not one. In fact, we need more electrons. And we in Congress have got to stop talking about an energy transition because that's a lie. This is about energy addition. In this country, we are sitting on the Marcellus Shale, which I was told is the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. Now, for 2 years when I was in the military, I was stationed in Saudi Arabia. You want to talk about vast resources. The insinuation that our country is sitting on a resource remotely close to the oil in Saudi Arabia is unbelievable and is God-given. But at the same time, New York has outlawed fracking, and the Marcellus Shale is sitting right at their feet. And yet, the Northeast would rather import heating oil from foreign countries than tap the resource that's sitting right beneath them. This lack of coherent leadership is dangerous for our country and for our children's future. And we can only ride the coattails of the good policies of the Trump administration for so long. Joe Biden came for your gas stoves. Came for your cars. Apparently now it's your dishwasher. And as I said in the very beginning, Joe Biden said, and I quote, "We are going to ban fossil fuels." Promises made, promises kept. Thank you all so much for being here, and with that I yield back.
I thank the gentleman.